first, before we get to on-call and Mark Hale, I want to introduce a new co-organizer of 1 Million Cups Milwaukee, Mr. Brian Mayer.
Hello, Brian.
So he's a very familiar face with the group, and we're excited to have him join the co-organizing team. So without further ado, I think we're ready to hear from on-call.
All right, thank you. Thanks, guys. It's all guys. That's weird.
Yes, I know most of it.
So thanks for having me back. The first time I came to one of these altogether was when I presented for the first time downstairs. And then as soon as Brian, Pat, and the gang said that we were going to have them up here, when we were touring, there was, I think, 2 offices left. And as soon as he said that, I said, I'll take one. And I hadn't even checked with the team yet because I thought this place was so cool. And so that worked out really well. So we've been officing from up here and it's been great. One of the coolest things about Million Cups is just the energy and meeting new people and seeing all the cool concepts. And then we will continue to follow a lot of them as well. I will give you the update, but the background for on-call, and I think a few of you, obviously I've had all these conversations with a few of you, so if it's redundant, I apologize. But I was in in-home care for 9 years, had about 250 caregivers, taking care of over 500 clients every day, and saw this huge gap in technology when we got to the house. So my client care coordinators would come back and say, no one knows what's going on at all. The adult children don't know. The caregivers don't know what the adult children want. The office we knew, but we didn't really know. So there was no real great technology to help everyone communicate about what was happening in the house. The only things that were out there were literally the I fallen but I can't get up buttons, but that's after the fact. If someone already fell, there's a 98% chance that they're not coming home, which was my bread and butter. To be honest, to be crass about it, we are billable hours. So if someone moves into a facility and we don't move with them, I just lost a client. And typically if they were a large client, if it was a 24/7 client, I mean that's 3 awake shifts a day. You know, that was a $3,000 client a week to me that I would lose. So of course we wanted to we wanted to keep them as clients, but we wanted to keep them healthy. We wanted to keep them in their home. And if you fell already and pushed one of these, you're done, basically. And the kicker is that we would walk into the house a lot of times and there would be the senior on the floor in the kitchen 2 days later, soiled themselves and everything because they couldn't get up, but they weren't really hurt. They just were on the floor. We'd walk in, they would be holding their pendant, and we'd say, what is going on? They're like, oh, I didn't want to bother anybody. Well, really what it was is they didn't want to push a button to call a stranger in a call center, to send a stranger in an ambulance, to knock their $1,000 door down and take them for a $1,500 ambulance ride for nothing. Because once you do this, they're obligated to do all that. So they can't just say, oh, you're okay, we're not sending anybody. That just doesn't happen. So what we decided to do with on-call is to make the family the first tier of support, sort of triage all this stuff. We just learned the other day, and I'll catch you up on that in a second, but we just learned the other day, these fall detectors, take a wild guess about the percentage of false alarms from these. Anybody, wild guess.
40%.
94%. So a call center, 94% of the time when this goes off, they're sending an ambulance for nothing. 94%. That's crazy. So first of all, someone comes up with a better fall detection unit, they're going to make a lot of money.
Is that not, so you don't push the button, it just
Yeah,
catches
if you fell, if this moves fast, it's going to go off.
Gotcha.
If I sat down fast, it's going to go off. So this one happens to be one of the best ones. It's a company called Biosensics. And we are in the process of pairing with this device. It also has a button as well, but it doesn't have to be pushed. Actually, a company right here up the hall soon, it's called Scanalytics, CSA is back them, They actually will have a great opportunity for us because they've got sensor pads that will be able to detect a body on the floor. Well, that's 100% accurate. If there's a body laying on the floor and their sensors pick it up, we know that that's going to happen, so we're working with them as well. So there's opportunities all around this space, but my story on that is this came from feet on the street experience every day. Most of the stuff out there that we've seen, you can absolutely tell was developed by a guy in a cube that had no senior experience at all. And so we've crammed all this stuff into OnCall on purpose because I got feedback based on this, and that's how we came up with it. Some of the feedback that we were getting is the units are so ugly and they scream I'm frail and sick, they won't use them. They shove them under their bed, they unplug them, and they never use them, so what's the point? So we made it beautiful, we made it simple, it's cellular, so we don't have to worry about rebooting a Wi-Fi unit every month because it's meant to be drop shipped to mom or dad that live 4 or 5 hours away. All they do is plug it in, it fires up on the network automatically, and that's all they have to do. And then everything else is remotely configured from anywhere in the world through our website by the adult child or a caregiver or whatever, down to who's on the call list, when do they get alerts, what alerts do they get, and all that other good stuff. And even pairing, it's very, very simple to pair each device. So that's the premise of the device. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a short video. It'll really clarify some. How many of you guys seen this? A few of you maybe? Oh, cool. All right. So this will really clarify what we're up to. And I'm not sure if anybody has heard this, but every time I show this lately, very lately, it gets emotional for me. The gentleman who did this is Steve Eichenbaum, and he just died last week. He did everything for us. He did the design of the box, the logo, the name, all of our marketing, the video. Every single thing that we did was with him. And it was a complete disaster. I mean, it just is another reason why not to work out as far as I'm concerned. He was working out, he didn't feel well, went to the bathroom, had a heart attack and died. No one found him in the bathroom until midnight that night. It was a complete disaster. But the guy's a genius, and you'll see why in a second. I'm a little biased, but I think it's a great video. So, take a look.
Hello?
Hi. Hey, how's Mom today?
Hi. Well, I'm fine. I don't know how Mom is.
You know, it was your day to check up on Mom.
I know. I'm sorry, but I got very busy with the kids. They have soccer practice.
Fine. I got nothing to do. I'll take care of Mom again.
I'm really sorry. I'll try to help out this weekend.
I've always been the most responsible kid. We all know that. It was natural that I put together the master schedule.
So, my brother assigned me to check on Mom Tuesdays, Thursdays, or was it Fridays?
It'd be nice if other people followed it.
Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, and Saturdays, I think.
I am all the way out here in Seattle. Would I like to get home to see Mom more often? Sure, but I get out there once, twice a year. Maybe more like once a year.
I live closest to Mom, 2.8 miles away, to be precise. I see her every Saturday and Sunday before noon. I call her on Mondays and Thursdays, usually after 7 p.m.
You know, the kids have so much stuff going on that it's really hard for me to commit to any kind of schedule.
I was able to see Mom last year. I had a business trip that actually took me not too far away, so...
Yeah, my brother thinks he's the only guy in this family with a real job.
They have to manage their kids and Mom. I got entire departments worth of people here coming to me with problems all day.
I just wish there was a simpler way that we could all be there for Mom.
OnCall connected. It's time to take your medication. Press the purple button when you have. Blood pressure cuff paired. Your blood pressure is 120/80.
With OnCall, feels like there's two of me now. I can't remember the last time I had to make out a schedule. Mom's in touch with everyone who cares about her. And my brother.
The next time we get together, I want him to sit and listen to my brother go on and on and on about medical updates and schedules and why didn't I call it this time.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I'm actually looking forward to our reunion at my brother's house this year.
Why does it always have to be at my house?
Different tone than I've fallen, but I can't get up. I'm laying on the bottom of the stairs dying, right? Because this is reality. Every single family that we ever dealt with was just like this. My family's just like this. My brother's local, I'm local, but of course I was in the business, so everything came on my shoulders. My mom's been stage 4 colon cancer for 7 years. She's in now full remission as of a few weeks ago. But we were dealing with this every day. And I never thought that my brother gave a shit, to be honest with you, excuse me. But as soon as I put this on in my mom's house, I realized he's calling my mom more than me. I don't know if he's doing it because he thinks I'm watching him, but it's seriously, it completely released that animosity between my brother and I. And he and I are like really good friends, we're best friends, talk to him every day. But it had this underlying thing going on here. So it does a lot up for the family communication. It keeps everyone informed. And the thing that we didn't discuss here was that when if my mom does fall and she pushes a button, right? Everyone gets notified, and that's when it was telling you that we monitor the landlines, right? So in a text, my mom's phone number would show up, and it would say, you know, emergency button pressed at X time of the day, and I can call my mom from that text. My brother's then notified that I called her so he could stand down, because he'll get a text saying that I called her, and he'll also be notified if she picked up the phone. If she doesn't pick up the phone, then it can escalate to 911 through a call center. And here is where I'll start giving you updates, because that's a key thing for us. The first time I presented, I think it was 5 or 6 months ago. Was it May? I don't remember, but there's a lot that's gone on since then. We've obviously done a lot of the marketing stuff. We've partnered with a third-party portal that I'll show you in a second. But the call center piece really came together because when we've done field trials in the last few months, and one of the field trials was with this call center out of Ohio, and it went very, very, very well. And our first year projections were probably around 650 units, and we thought we would bootstrap that. And we built some of these we screwed together ourselves. We figured, we could figure this out in a small run. We could do that. Well, this one company ordered 5,000 units. And so they said, we can do 5,000 a month if this works out well. And so we said, oh crap, because now what? So we had to go after more money, and we're still raising money for that. We now have enough to go into production. We are actually producing right in Pleasant Prairie. And there's a company called Sanmina. They're a tier 1 contract manufacturer. They're all over the world, but they just happen to have a nice facility right here. So we're going to keep everything local, and we've done that. Everything's been Midwest. Our firmware has been out of Indianapolis. We just hired our guys full time. They're right in the back there. Hi guys. And Eric, the CEO, just stopped by. You're more than happy to ask him any technical questions, because the last time I presented, I got hammered on the technology side. It's not my bag. So these guys know the tech side of it, how it communicates, what signals it throws, and all that kind of stuff. But ultimately, right now, we're in the position where we are optimizing the bill of materials, the BOM for manufacturing. We are going into production. We envision having units on the street first quarter. We have several long lead time parts, like 12 to 14 week lead time parts. So that's what we're dealing with on that side right now. Obviously, we're trying to optimize to get the cost of the unit down. And obviously, as we ramp up, that'll happen just through volume. The first run is the first run. We don't anticipate making a lot of money on the box, certainly, but our business model is recurring revenue on the back end. So what we've done, I'll show you a little bit more. So this company is right out of Chicago, and this is our family portal, and it'll be optional because one of the benefits of what we do is that we're so agnostic on the back end that our device has the smarts in it, so we don't have to use our cloud to do any of the computing. The device can send the data to anyone's cloud. All you need to do is tell us where you want it. So there's a lot of different platforms like this. We don't have to use ours at all. So if there's a company that has, like an in-home care company, a ton of them are using point-click care now, or another, there's a few other ones out there. So they just say, send us the data, and we can do that. And the nice thing is, since it doesn't go to our cloud first, there's way less opportunity to get hacked. If someone had to hack this information, they'd have to go to every single device individually instead of just one cloud, right? So it's safe. We don't have HIPAA issues because we Snapchat the data. We don't hang on to the data, and we also don't have to be FDA compliant because we're the same. It's called an MDDS. We are the same designation as a cell phone, thanks to Apple, Motorola, and those guys who told the FDA, if you think we're going to be registering these things, you're out of your mind. And they caved, basically. And we're basically a smartphone without the UI. Inside, it's a custom board. It's not like we shoved a smartphone in there, but same type of communication. So we can send data directly to this portal. So basically what this is, the first tab would be like a news feed like Facebook, so the family can communicate, the doctor can come on here. We have the individual contacts, the important contacts like doctors. We would have mom or dad's calendar on here of events, what medications they're taking, and when you add new medications, they cross-reference, so there's no conflict of meds. Important documents. This next tab is the kicker for us. This is what we had them add because the in-home care business is an interesting business, right? There's a lot of different revenue streams that can be produced in the home. So the important thing is to keep that person safe and at home as long as possible. So we can send the data to this portal. The in-home care coordinator can then walk in the house with an iPad or whatever and show this, like let's use this oxygen saturation graph, right? So Monday, oxygen saturation was fine. Friday and Saturday it was fine. Guess why? Because we can also overlay caregiver hours. It's because they were in the house. So a client care coordinator can now use this as a sales tool to gain more hours in the house. And it's not just to gain more hours, well, it kind of is, but it's obviously to keep that person healthy, right? And we wouldn't have known why that person's not doing well. We had a feeling, but now we have proof, right? So now the client care coordinator can walk in the house and say, Mrs. Smith, we need to be there Tuesday, Wednesday, and Sunday. You can see it. It's plain as day, right? So we're using this information to help these companies get to the next level and really understand what's going on in the house. It is a very archaic scenario right now. People are using logbooks, writing things by hand. I mean, that's a HIPAA issue, first of all. Someone would walk in the house and grab that book and you'll never see it again. The caregiver could lose the book or leave it in their car. The car could get stolen, all sorts of crazy stuff. Here, we make it all easy. And there's hardly any room for mistakes. If someone has an INR scenario is the thickness of your blood, if you're on Coumadin, things like that, 1 point can be the difference between clotting out and stroking or bleeding to death, one way or the other. So if someone flips those numbers in the logbook, guess what? That's no good. So we go directly from the device through our unit to the portal. No one's making any mistakes. So I'll give someone an example of how this works. Who wants to be a guinea pig? See if you're going to make it to lunch. So this is how this is going to work. You have to put your finger in here. This is a pulse oximeter by Nonin. They're everywhere. This happens to be their Bluetooth version that we are pairing with now. This happens to be a USB version, but what are you going to do?
Oxygen saturation is 98%.
And there
Pulse
it is.
94.
It showed up on my phone already. So it goes from there, the senior knows what's going on, and then the adult child or whoever wants to get the information knows what's going on now, like right away, right? Another example would be, and I can show you, and you see how clear the device is. It's wood for a reason, because the people who designed the speaker designed $25,000 speaker systems. I mean, we went really hard and deep on how the audio is, because most of the devices out there, it sounds like the peanuts talking to their teacher with a wah, wah, wah. You can't understand a word. So we really wanted it clear. We wanted it very, very easy to understand visually as well. When that flashes, it doesn't flash fast or slow, it just flashes. Because when you're on the phone trying to figure out what's going on with mom and you say, is it flashing fast? She'd be like, what do you mean is it flashing? I don't know, right? So everything is simple and easy, and no one ever has to deal with it if they don't want to, right? And all the smarts go on the back end, and it's just simple for the senior to deal with on the front end. So an example of mom falls down. So push the button. Should it fall? Could.
Emergency.
So you'll see it. There it is. It already showed up.
Press the button in the red circle to cancel. Contacting help.
Eric got it too. Was that you? So, and then I'll get an all clear text as well. And so if I was to call my mom back from this text, that's what I was explaining before, where it would just, everyone would know what's going on. Yes?
Mark, can you call through the box?
We are adding two-way voice right now.
Okay.
The initial units did not have two-way voice. We pivoted a little bit on that, because initially it was let the family triage it, let them call 911 if they wanted to. The call center said, that's not how we play. We have to be able to talk through the device. So we are adding two-way voice right now. And I don't know how much deeper we need to get into that, but there's a whole bunch that's going into that too. But the device is semi-ready for it already. We've found a great microphone. You're not even going to be able to see it. We're going to pop it in here somewhere. I don't know where yet. But simple. We're ready to do it. Just takes money. But we've handled. We're in the home stretch on that right now. Yeah.
What's been the feedback from the senior side, the user side? Having it in the house, how they feel,
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because someone could anticipate that there would be this big brother thing going on. The seniors that have had it really enjoy the fact that they have this peace of mind, and it's really, if their adult child says, Mom or Dad, do this for me so that I know what's going on, you don't have to do anything different than you're already doing. We're not changing their habits. If my mom has a Bayer Glucose Contour Next glucometer from Walgreens, she can use it. I'm not making her change her habits, and that's the most important thing. We're not asking them to change anything. We're just like, can I put this pretty box in your house? That's all you even have to tell them. They don't even know what's going on.
No.
Yeah.
So if they already have like one of these, buttons that they can push and have like a wall hanging unit or whatever, the call center, would yours replace that, or would it have to be in addition to?
Either or. So it depends on what they already have. So if they have a Philips Lifeline, we would replace that, because we can do that plus all the rest of what we're doing. So That's why the call center enjoys working with us, is because right now they do vitals monitoring and home monitoring as well. So in order for them to do what they call PERS, personal emergency response, they need one hub for that. If they want to do medication management, they need another hub. If they want to do glucose, they need another hub. If they want an INR, they'd have another hub. So what they call it is a wall wart problem. They have all these plugs in the wall. The seniors hate it because they've got all these ugly devices in their house. We can replace all of those units with one. And then the call center has a better opportunity to upsell later. So if someone just wants the PERS initially, great, we can do that. They can say, oh, you need your pulse ox monitored? Oh great, we can do that. It's just going to be an extra couple bucks a month or whatever it is. So they don't have to go back out and do it. And we can over-the-air firmware update this device. We don't even have to pull the device to do any of these additions. They're all ready to go. So I think I answered that question. Did I? Okay. So, you know, as we've been adding, our whole idea obviously is to create this beautiful ecosystem of devices. We're open architecture, so come one, come all. This is an interesting company right out of West Bend called Spalding. It's called Spalding Clinical. They do clinical trials in West Bend. Well, they developed this puck. This is an EKG device. It has the 12 lead that come out of here, right? Take it anywhere. Normally, a hospital would have to pay like $40,000 for a device that does EKG. They can have this for $1,500. And so what they would do is someone has, call it AFib, whatever it is. So they have to be monitored at home. They would send them with this and that instead of having them go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth for these, you know, all the readings. And it would be a way less expensive alternative. And, you know, it's all portable. It's a Bluetooth device. So what we would do is the information would go from here to our unit to the doctor's portal or whoever wants to monitor that.
Would that be like a rental arrangement though?
Yeah, the hospital would just send them home with one of these. They're anticipating that the hospital would just buy a couple of dozen so that they could have them to put out there. So, and our distribution channel is obviously going to be the call centers, discharge people at rehab facilities that are discharging to home, so that when you get discharged home, you would go home with an on-call unit and whatever peripheral that they wanted to monitor. The idea today is reduce readmits. So we would help do that, and we would have proof that it's working. And a lot of this stuff can be passive. Another example would be a motion sensor in mom's bathroom, right? We're not doing video, we're not doing anything like that. So you put a motion sensor in the bathroom, and I know that my mom goes to the bathroom once a night. I'm fine with that, right? All of a sudden she starts going 3, 4 times, 5 times a night. Well, first of all, that's 4 or 5 more times that she could fall. But it might just be a urinary tract infection. It could be, you know, easily dealt with antibiotics, no fuss, no muss. If you let a UTI go more than a couple of days, they get admitted to the hospital. People think they have dementia. It gets nuts. And it's very dangerous for a senior to have that. So if I see that she's going 3 or 4 more times a night, I call her and I say, Mom, are you okay? Let's make a doctor's appointment, get you on some antibiotics, you probably have a UTI, and then be done. That way we avoid the fall, we avoid the hospitalization. We're trying to be proactive instead of what these are is just reactive right now. Yeah.
Is there reimbursement for this at all?
Interestingly enough, the call center has health systems that are reimbursing for a lot of this stuff right now. So by default, we will be reimbursed. And there's a lot of telehealth reimbursement going on right now. So we're going to piggyback on that. We haven't figured it all out yet, but yes, there will be.
And there are all these things, Fitbits and other devices.
Interestingly, you bring that up. So Fitbit, this is a Misfit. This is called a Misfit Shine. The reason why we like this one is that it's nicer looking. They have an agreement with Swarovski Crystal. You can embed them in jewelry. This is a nicer band. This was my mom's unit. I got the band and I couldn't get it to go small. She got these tiny little wrists. So this particular band isn't good for her, so I took it. But we're testing this because every one of these devices, there's no compelling event for you or me. Who cares how many steps I took today? I could care less. I don't care. I don't care how I slept last night. I know I slept. I'll be fine. But if my mom stops walking around, and if my mom gets crappy sleep, that's a compelling event. The problem is, all of these devices need this. Seniors don't play, right? If I told my mom she needed to download the Misfit app and sync to this app every day for her to know what's going on, she'd look at me like I'm on the moon, right? So what we've done is we have a device level agreement with Misfit so that every time my mom walks by her on-call unit, it syncs to the app and it populates the app that I have so I can see what she's doing. And it's a really compelling thing. If my mom, every Thursday for 7 years, she went to chemo, right? Wednesday night, I absolutely saw that she did not sleep well because she was kind of worried about Thursday. Thursday, I know her activity level was 0 because she's sitting in that stupid chair getting chemo all day. Thursday night, never slept well, ever. But if she was in California and I'm here, at least I understand what's going on because she's got this on. She never would have worn this at all if I didn't buy it for her, tell her to put it on and say, you don't have to do anything, just put it on. Or put it in your pocket of your wherever you're going, right? So she doesn't have to deal with it at all. We just opened up the entire senior market for Misfit. They would have never, ever tapped into that, ever. Maybe if Silicon Valley, these, the adult children have, the parents have them there, they play with their cell phones there. But the majority of the universe, seniors don't play. So we've taken the cell phone or the smartphone totally out of the picture for seniors. And I love, Eric sort of coined the phrase, the Internet of Things is wasted on the young, because there's no compelling event for the young. I mean, if you look at a lot of the home monitoring things, Wink just went bankrupt. You can get those in Home Depot. The early adopters went out and bought this stuff, and then they ran out of early adopters because it's a pain in the butt. They're not easy to set up. The Wi-Fi and this and that and the other thing. And so we can help people monitor their home without this. A lot of these devices that we're dealing with in the home are sub-gigahertz, which is the same technology that your garage door uses. When's the last time you had to reconnect your garage door? Ever? Never? I haven't asked one person ever that had to deal with that, right? So this technology, this sub-gigahertz technology is awesome for that. And we have that in here. We got Wi-Fi in here, Bluetooth LE. We have the same Zigbee chip as Nest. So we'll be able to monitor home temperature, things like that, eventually, when we connect with them. So a lot of these things are now going to be opened up to the senior population through the adult children. Our target is the 55-year-old daughter, the oldest daughter, who mostly deals with this stuff. That's going to be the decision maker on this stuff.
So Mark, for you guys, so you see yourself as a bulk sale pretty much on all of your client base?
Yeah, I mean, we're right now going to be B2B because that makes the most sense. We're under NDA, but they're the largest distributor into senior facilities in the country for sure. I'm not sure if it's the world, but they're the biggest. We're dealing directly with them right now as well. They're going to have that channel going into independent and assisted living and more acute facilities. They'll take that channel. The call center wants the channel into senior in-home care agencies, which is fine, because let them do it. Eventually, we plan on doing retail, but only after we grease the skids every other way, because that's a long, hard, expensive road. So initially it was made to go in consumer electronics retail. That's what we thought we were going to do. But we decided to pivot a little bit on that. Especially we just got traction that was low fruit. The other stuff was low fruit. Yeah.
You're still going to get a lot of PR, and you're going to get some demand coming from those 55-year-old, daughters, right? Mm-hmm. And they're going to be calling their providers, their, in-home care folks saying, hey, you guys have, how are you doing to sort of address that?
Well, we are working with the in-home care agencies right now. Obviously, I have a lot of connections there. So we're going to be involved with the two largest out there. One has over 1,000 offices, one has 900 now across the country. And that's just the top two. We're dealing with the lower tier as well for a number of units, I mean. So we are dealing with them. And eventually we'll have a area on our site to have it drop ship direct. And then we'll also have an area on the site of approved, ONKÖL approved peripherals. But we're not going to sell those. It'll just be a link to where you could buy it and have it delivered to your home. We say come one, come all. We just want to make this easy. And so we know what we're good at, and we're not going to be developing peripherals or anything like that. Let the people who are good at that do that. So that's our plan on that.
What's your relationship with the call center? Do they sell for you, or do they take questions about service?
Both. So this is a very interesting scenario. This first order, and it's perfect for us. We don't have to do anything. They're going to do fulfillment. They're going to do first tier support. They're going to do distribution. They're going to do returns and refurbishes, everything. They're going to even take care of their cell service because they obviously have a huge discount on cell service now because all their devices in the field already. So for us, this is very, very good for the first order because we don't have to staff up that much to support it. We're going to staff up to support it, but it's not like we've got to do everything all at once. But so what they're going to do is they're buying these 5,000 units, and then they will rent them to their end users for a monthly fee and include whatever else they're doing.
So you just pay them to handle all those calls? They're like a contractor for you?
Well, actually, the funny thing is they're buying the unit, and then we get a monthly fee from them per unit. So we're just doing a royalty deal with them. And normally what would happen is, for instance, if any of you bought one for your parents, we would have to do a lot of the support and everything else. So obviously your monthly to us is going to be higher than someone who's buying 60,000 of these things a year. So it worked out real well for us just to get out of the gate. But we're going to have different channel agreements. Yeah.
What competition has you worried right now? Anybody racing the beach yet?
You know what? There are going to be a ton, without question. That's why we're trying to get out of the gate as quickly as we possibly can. I do not know of any other company in this space that has all the radios that we do in a nice box like we have, that's as agnostic as we are on the peripheral and the back end side. Every single one that we know of, all the information has to go to their cloud to do all the computing first, and then there's a company called Qualcomm TuneNet. So they basically have what we call a dumb hub. It goes, all the information from the home monitoring goes to the hub, to their cloud, and then you have to buy access to their cloud monthly to get the data, right? So if someone hacks their cloud, guess what? Have fun with that, because I'm not playing that way. So we want to do it so that send it to anywhere, we Snapchat the data, we don't deal with the data, so no one else is doing it that way. Now, am I going to say that we have no competition? Of course we've got competition. There's Lively, there's a whole bunch of other home monitoring companies out there, but they're all closed ecosystem. You have to buy their devices, you have to buy all of, it's all closed. And we're as open as you can possibly be. So that's one of our big differentiators. But won't last forever, I'm sure.
What's your, I think this is great, by the way.
Thank you.
Had a great time. What's your price point compared to everyone else's?
So our MSRP on the box is going to be $299, which is right in the sweet spot. And our suggested monthly to our distributors is $29 a month. And for all the development, all of it you can do, as many peripherals as you can attach to it, right? One of these alone right now is about $29 a month. So what we wanted to do is come in, do same or lower price for way more, right? And so we think that we've got a good spot going on with the monthly.
And then like a follow-up company question, sorry, is that how big is the market and like how big do you think your company's gonna get? I mean, like I think this is great.
How big is the market and how big are we gonna be?
I don't know how big we're gonna be. The market is by far the fastest growing demographic in the community.
10,000 people
It's
turn
gonna double in
65 every
size
day.
in the next 15 years.
Okay.
I think so. It's gonna go, I think it was whatever it was, 35 million to 70 million in the next 15 years.
Oh, wow.
So there's, and depending on how you look at it, we're both an elderly play and an Internet of Things play.
Sure.
So go figure out the Venn diagram on that in terms of how big that market is big.
All right.
So, and I was saying 10,000 people turn 65 every day. I will be involved with something senior related for the rest of my life, I can tell you that for sure. But the number of identified seats just in the in-home care space is we have well over 100 and something thousand seats identified just there. And that's just one little spot. To give you an example, there's a company called, I forgot the name of it even. It was bought by Philips. It was right when I bought my business and my in-home care business in about 9 or 10 years ago. It was purchased by Philips for I think 300 million, and they only had 100,000 units out. So did Philips overpay? Probably, but there's upside on the Yeah.
So it's just about 10 o'clock. We ask all of our presenters the same question to wrap things up. What can we do to help on-call us along the coast community?
Just spread the word that you found something cool to take care of seniors. We're always open. I love getting advice from everybody that's around here. There's people with way more experience than I have for sure. And we're just having a ball. We're trying to figure out the additional distribution channels. We're trying to just figure out additional peripheral partners. So if you know of anything that's cool that's out there, we'd love to hear about it. Our office is actually right around the corner over here, so feel free to stop by anytime.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
See everyone next week.
Yes.